Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to tell you how happy I was to read that the Bartow Board of Education has recognized that there are local statutes as well as the Georgia Constitution and Georgia law that apply to the board when it comes to appointments. And that was very exciting to read from last meeting. I'm sorry I wasn't here to hear it. But although that is a very good news, it doesn't mitigate the fact that an appointment to the board was made in 2012 that was in violation of the law. It not only violated Georgia Law 2003, but it also violated the Georgia Constitutional Law, Article 8, Section 5, Paragraph 2. The Georgia statute that I believe kept on being quoted to you was 20-2-54.1. That was originally enacted in 1984. It was amended in 1993 and does not apply any longer to the Bartow County Board of Education because they must follow Georgia Law 2003. And in the Law 2003 it says that all laws that conflict with it are null and void. So that is the law that should have been followed when the appointment of Ms. Sullivan took place. And therefore, there could have been an easy resolution to that whole situation. And that would be that all you had to do was follow the rule of law. And Ms. Sullivan, if she would have stepped down from being appointed, that would have solved the problem as well. But instead, it drug out for over a year, or at least until the July 31st elections. I do believe, Dr. Harper, that the taxpayers of Georgia, and specifically Bartow County, and the parents should be apologized to for the fact that they had to go through that exercise in frustration just because the rule of law was not followed. Anna Sullivan also owes an apology to the people, and I'm sure that the media that is here would be more than happy to take a written apology and publish it into their newspapers or their publications for you. And I'd like to see that done within 10 business days. In addition, taxpayer dollars were spent on the defense of Anna Sullivan. The case that was brought up was not against the Board of Education. It was against Ms. Sullivan for an illegal appointment and keeping that illegal appointment. That totaled $4,757.50. Through the Freedom of Information Act, we were able to receive 2 of the invoices that came directly to Mr. Boyd Pettit at his office from Brock Clay on that legal defense. Now, as you'll notice, they're redacted. We'd like to know what's in those redacted areas. Unless it's a matter of national security, we have a right to know what the services entailed. So everybody can see. Here are the redacted invoices. It is my understanding that the board is considering letting some teachers go, as well as some librarians, to cut staff because there isn't enough funds. But whatever the case may be, the $4,757 should go back into the Bartow County Treasury and not pay for an illegal appointment. Now, every time I contacted the board or came up here and spoke, I got a letter from Dr. Harper and responding to my being here. And it simply said that you were going to take it under advisement from your legal counsel. To the best of my knowledge, Boyd Pettit is your legal counsel. Am I correct? Yes? No? Do I get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Under those circumstances, and I think Mr. Pettit owes you an apology, according to the records of what he is described as a system attorney, he is supposed to represent the people. He doesn't really represent the board, he represents the people, but he's not protecting our interest if he's going to go ahead and be involved in giving illegal and unethical advice to the board. I've contacted the State Bar of Georgia and I will be filing a complaint against Mr. Pettit for providing that information that was not proper. And it's unfortunate that you also followed that advice, because it is not a defense in a court of law at all to say, well, our attorney told us to do that.
Excuse me, Ms. Englehart, your time is up. If you could close, please.
Okay, well, basically, I would like to see those letters of apology. I'd like to know what's on the redacted invoices. And I would also like to see that money put back into the treasury that belongs to the taxpayers of Bartow County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, could you also let her know that we can't respond?
Yeah, she knows that. Thank you.
What was that?
Dr. Harper, Superintendent's report.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of items for the report this evening. One is, as you see on the screen, we've been working to install in all of our schools an emergency button that when it's located in the front office for our principals to actuate whenever there's a real emergency in our building. What happens when this button is pushed, Mr. Chairman, is a message goes out to all of our classrooms in the principal's voice that we have essentially a code red to help us protect our children and be safer. Also, 411 or 911 is called that there's an emergency at that school. We've been putting those in our buildings. We will complete that shortly. And Mr. Knowles, or Chief Knowles, has also been looking at all of our schools, doing some full reports about the safety concerns that we have in our buildings. Because, as you know, that is a priority for us to keep our children and our staff safe. But this is just one of the little measures that we have been working on in our buildings to, again, alert 911 and to let our staff know that we have a real emergency in our building that needs to be taken care of, and our kids with the procedures that we have to protect themselves.
Thank you. And we do appreciate what Mr. Knowles and his staff and the schools working with him and with your office
Yes, sir.
done in the past months, trying to make sure our buildings are as secure as we can possibly have them. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Item number 2 is our Shine Awards. We completed those last month, and we've got one coming up this month. But essentially, we ask our principals to give us information over outstanding employees. Here you see April Sargent, who works in school nutrition with the balloons and with the principal and the central office staff. We'd like to go out and surprise them and say, hey, great job. We appreciate what you're doing. And thanks to Ms. Staff now for letting us do this and working with us to get these individuals recognized. The next person we recognized was Joe Baker, a teacher at Cass Middle School. The principal let us know that he was doing an outstanding job for his students there, and we went and visited him and surprised him, and he was very surprised and excited about us coming with the certificate and the balloons to say, hey, thank you for a job well done. The final award was offered to Officer Randall Birch, and if you know Randall very well, he's a gentleman that truly does not like attention. He's a very hardworking individual, and was really surprised when we presented him with the Shine Award, and as he said to us, you really didn't have to do that, but he does an excellent job for us. He goes above the call of duty, and we certainly appreciate him. Mr. Chairman, those are the Shine Awards for last month, and we have some this month. Ms. Staff, now thank you for making this possible for us in Bartow County. Appreciate it. Mr. Chairman, that's the superintendent's report for this evening.
Great. Any questions, comments? Department reports.
Yes, sir. I'd ask that Dr. Saban come up and present the Bartow County College and Career Academy report, and he has a couple of recognitions for us this evening as well.
Thank you, Dr. Harper and School Board. We have a lot of great things going on in Bartow County, and I'll get to share a couple. A lot of times we recognize all those things we do in elementary school or middle school, but sometimes high school doesn't quite get as recognized about some of the great things that are going on. So a couple things I wanted to point out today. See if I can make this thing work.
You have it on?
Yeah, it's on here. Let's try one more time. Am I getting high enough there?
Ben's doing it.
first one I want to talk a little bit about is the reality store. I want to talk about the opportunity that our freshmen had this year, and this was at all 3 of our high schools. And during this event, we were able to have 1,100 of our freshman students go through Reality Store and find a little bit about what kind of things happen once you get out of high school and get a job, and things you have to do to be prepared for your future. We had 130 community members who came and served and really participated with our students. And during this time, they would go to different stations. Oh, this one here is a college station. They would go to, you can see the bottom one there, if they went through taxes and they bought a house and got a car and they ran out of money, they had to go back and go out of money and maybe get a part-time job or a loan. So that was kind of neat. But what makes this event so great is really that we're putting community and students together to learn about what it is like to have responsibilities outside of school. This would not be possible without community members from our advisory, CTA advisory, coming in and doing this for us. And Brenda Cooper, who's in the picture here and who's here tonight to be recognized, really organized this for us. And in a second, we're going to recognize her and let her come up here. We had a second event take place this month, and that was our Image and Interview Day. It's really a great opportunity for students to figure out, okay, I have a career in mind, I've researched a job, and now we go and do an interview. And so we invite community members who have businesses to come and do those interviews. But that's not really the whole meat of it. The meat of it is the feedback they get. So right there, they get feedback from the community members, and they learn about what they did well and what they can improve on. And then they go back to their school, and Kathy Myers, one of our folks that works with a lot, she goes and meets with them, and they write letters and thanking for the interview, but then also talking a little bit about their experience. And I'll just quickly read one of them. It says, "Thanks largely for your advice on my high school image interview. I went there expecting how to better myself and got so much more. It made my day when you told me that one day I would be somebody special. Thanks to you, I know now that I need to take more time when answering my interview questions and be less nervous. Your advice was greatly helpful, and again, I thank you." So that's one of over 1,000 letters that will be written to our community members for coming and doing that, and I really appreciate our community and our students and folks for doing that. This is one of our community members and what they wrote about the experience, and you can see some of our folks there that are being interviewed in the pictures. And again, none of that would be possible without our community members and our advisory and people spearheading that. We don't, we have just a few people who have just taken the bull by the horns and made this happen. So I'd like to appreciate it. So if I got the chairperson and the superintendent to come down and ask Brenda Cooper and Kathy Myers to come up, and we can just give them a certificate. Mark, can you get a picture for us? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Harper asked that I come and give an update on the Bartow County College and Career Academy. We've had a lot of action going on with that in a very short period of time, and so I'm pleased to comment that we are well on our way to opening fall of 2013-14 school year, so we're making progress in that way. Of course, our mission, and this was done on a lot of work with the community, our businesses, our chamber, our colleges, is of course we want to ensure that we have a viable 21st century workforce for Bartow County. And we believe we can do that by offering a partnership between the chamber, the colleges, post-secondary, and our businesses and our schools. Just recently we had a parent meeting, and I'll be honest with you, I was a little concerned. I didn't know how many people were going to show up for this meeting, so I was thinking, I made about 25 copies. It was raining out, it had been ugly out for a while. So I really didn't know how many were going to turn out, and we had more than 300 people there, and we were running back and forth to the copy machine trying to get the applications and information. We did provide them with a brochure that I think each of you have in your packet, and so that's just a general information brochure. Also, Mark and his team have done a great job helping us with the website, and so we've got a website up now that's got more information on it, so we've got that there for them. During that meeting, we talked about our pathways, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time, we've talked about this before, but we are offering 4 clusters, and each of these clusters has different pathways, and so in your brochure it talks about those in detail. But they're engineering, public safety, healthcare, marketing, and cosmetology. And so those are the clusters that we're offering at the Career Academy for the first year. Our goal is to open more clusters as we move forward. Today I was talking to someone that we hope to continue to grow and add more programs as the community needs those and as we see where the jobs are going to be. And as we do that, we want to make sure we're not just doing things that students are interested in, but where the job's going to be in 2015, 16, and beyond. We did spend a lot of time talking about how the schedule is going to work, so I wanted to take just a second and talk to you about that. We just finished with registration at each of our high schools. And right now, we have had 134 applicants from Adairsville. We had 95 applicants from Cass High School and 110 from Woodland High School. So we're well on our way to getting to 300 students. That's well over 300, but of course some of those won't work because of their schedules and so forth, so we're in the process now of working through that. But just so you understand, what we're going to do is the school will have 2 blocks. We'll have a morning block and an afternoon block. Our students will all be part of their base school. A Woodland High School student is a Woodland High School student. They'll be attending this program. A Cass High School student the same, and Adairsville the same. They'll either be in the morning block or afternoon, and they'll come for half of the day and attend the occupational courses as well as dual enroll courses. Both Georgia Highlands and Chattahoochee are wanting to serve our students in this facility, doing dual enrollment both through core classes and occupational classes. So we're in the process of working that out. That sounds like an easy process, but we have been going back and forth with those schools because there's just differences. For a long time we've been in 2 different silos, and we're trying to bring these silos together. And there's going to be some pains in that, but we're going to work through those. And I think it's going to be, in the end, we will have a seamless process where you go from elementary school, starting to learn about careers and what options are out there. Middle school, you'll explore what those options are. And in high school, we'll train students for those career options. So that's our goal, to do that, make that seamless. This is just the opposite, flip side of that schedule. We started on, we've had our architectural drawings drawn of the first phase of the first 4 programs, and those are on the table now for bids. They were on there for 30 days. The 18th, I believe, is the last day. I think one gosh can correct me if that's not right. The first room here is our engineering lab, and we've been working with our advisory boards in engineering to make sure that that meets the industry standard. We've also got on the top left over there is where the healthcare, the bottom left is where the cosmetology, and then the center one there on the right is the marketing. And then the lower level, which is not pictured here, will be the public safety. Those will be the first phase of the project. As you remember, we received just a little bit over $3 million, $3.4 million for construction and renovations, and so this will be the first phase of that. The second phase will really primarily focus on trying to do some of the infrastructure. We've got to do some things with security, with IT. We want to work on the facade of this building some. It's a little bit of an older building. We want to make it attractive for our community and for our students who come there. So that's phase 2 of the process. So that's kind of where we are. That's the update. And I hope to bring you next month. I'll actually be able to tell you how many students are enrolled for each program. So that's kind of where we are.